NBA Friday in here, and this is going to change. This is now going to be officially called Degen Saturday. Hopefully that changes correctly. Boom. There it is. Degen Saturday is now officially on the way. And Rhodey is here. I was unaware. I was unaware we were going to be graced with the presence of Mr. Rhodey.
Hey, what's up, man?
Yo, what's going on?
Not too much.
I got to tell you, now I know what it feels like to live where you live. It's like 11. It's like 11 here.
Yeah, we've been under zero lately. Last couple days, it's warming up. I think we're single digits today. It's 4 degrees.
Four. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of wind though, like 40-mile-an-hour. It's 9. It's actually 9 right now, so it's gonna warm up today.
Oh my God, 9! I almost want to go take a jog. Yeah, but I got all kinds of stuff today because after the 1 o'clock games, I'm literally having the greatest food. Not the greatest food, but at least up there with some of the greatest food ever. I'm getting the official #scans potato pancakes. We're doing a Hanukkah party at Scans' house, and he makes the best potato pancakes this side of Linkoping. So looking forward to that. What is so I've been kind of fiddling around, Mr. Rhodey, and I still don't know exactly what to do, because if you run any kind of optimals or any kind of anything, you'll end up with like 400% Minnesota, right? Or maybe you'll get some Philly and Seattle and Kansas City and Dallas, whatever. And I'm trying to again figure out that combination of forcing things out and going with, you know what I mean, like what's optimal, and going with what I think good plays are. And so like right now, I'm kind of on DraftKings, like 30% Minnesota, 20% Seattle, 14% Philly, 12% KC, then some Dallas and the Giants. And the teams that are just not going to make it are just kind of everybody else. You know, I can certainly make a case for Detroit, right? You can make a case, I guess, for Cincinnati and Carolina, whatever. But it just seems as though that just the discrepancy between the good weather games and the bad weather games is just so big that it's just kind of hard in just the names of getting different to just go nuts like that. What are you? First of all, what are you playing today? What are you focusing on, and what's your overall view on who you want to play in general?
Yeah, I really like the dome games today too. It's the weather's really got me worried, you know. But I mean, I got some 5-5-5 lineups today, and I think I'm gonna try to get a little bit different in that. You know, I might stack like the Giants side with, you know, Minnesota in a lineup, and then like I think I'm gonna do a Josh Allen stack. I really do. I mean, I don't know. The weather's there, cold, but I mean, nobody's gonna play digs and stuff like that, so I might do that. And then I'm playing the power sweep like I always play. So some of the bigger contests, and I'll just I really like the Dallas game today. Like I like Dak on that side actually. So yeah, I'm kind of staying with those games, and then sprinkling in some low end plays that I got that we'll talk about in there. That people aren't going to be playing today.
Yeah, I'm playing one lineup in that 555 as well. That game, I'm probably going to just pick one of my favorite games and just jam it. You know what I mean? And just hope it goes off. I think that's the way I'm going to handle that game, that tournament, I guess. And I still don't know exactly which one that's going to be. I have a question. Is Noah Fant is not out, is he?
No, he's in.
Okay.
Last I heard. Let me pull it up though.
No, the only reason I mention is I'm just looking at some of the lineups I'm building. I'm getting a handful of Will Disley's. I'm wondering why that. Oh, I'm still getting Fans also. Okay.
Yeah, you should be getting both of them. I think they're both because they're cheap and
okay.
They both have a decent projection. Probably is why you're pulling.
Yeah, and with respect to like builds and running backs and all this, well, let's talk about the Giants first, right? So I was talking about this with my son as well. He's like, why would anybody play the Giants? Like the receivers are terrible. It's not a question of being terrible. You know, they're the underdog, so they rate to be throwing the ball. It's a decent weather environment, and the receivers that they have available are all 4K or less. So it's just kind of it's just going to happen. Somebody's going to get some fantasy points unless it could be a big old Barkley game. He looked really good against Washington, like closing that game out last week in a season where he's not looked that great all too often. But every once in a while he'll do that, and I think that's the only thing that really stands in the way of these Giants receivers kind of getting there. I don't know if they're going to like have big ceilings or whatever, but how does somebody not get there uh, in this situation? I mean, look, you can get, and if you play Daniel Jones with two of these guys or one of these guys, you certainly have just a carload of Daniel Jones rushing upside. You know, he could run in for a touchdown. He could run for rushing yards. So um, it's I know that's not usually the type of thing you're supposed to do, like get a lot of ownership of the cheapo receivers and stuff, but it's kind of hard for me to ignore. I mean, what are your thoughts on that and that game in general?
Yeah, I mean, I do like that game, and I do have some of that stack. Daniel Jones in one of my 555. So I'm
Yeah,
definitely there. I probably don't have as much Barkley, which I'm going to add a little bit of because, like you said, he does look really good, and I mean, he could easily be the one that scores 2 or 3 touchdowns today, and maybe. But I mean, there's still someone's going to catch the ball. So one of these cheap receivers, I feel, has to get there. Hodges. I'm getting a lot of Richie James in that
yeah.
game. Even the tight end though, I do like Bellinger. He gets a lot of looks from Daniel Jones too, and he's a young guy that I was high on for best ball and earlier this season as well. So yeah, I do like that game a lot. Trying to mix, I'm mixing it in a little into my other stacks that where I'm getting different at too.
Yeah, another couple of things I wanted to touch on are the Kansas City Seattle game. Like the Seattle side of the ball seems like pretty logical, right? I mean, you have Metcalf is going to get a bunch, get a bunch. Marquise Goodwin's going to step into a bunch with Lockett out, and Kenneth Walker. I mean, he's healthy enough to play. I mean, he's probably going to be okay, and Fant's going to be okay too. The Kansas City side, we have to deal with this Derek McKinnon thing. Like he scores 30 fantasy points every game. And it's it's kind of tough to ignore. And then I was hoping that McCall Hardman was going to be active, but it seems as though he's not. Um, which
Really? Okay.
which I mean, I don't know if that's official, but that's the last news I heard, that they didn't expect him to be active. But we could look into
Mm.
that. Um, you have Kelsey, who, listen, good on DraftKings and whatever. They're making it difficult, but he's probably the wide receiver one, right, on the team, right? So uh, there's him, and then you have your choice. You could play I think Juju Smith-Schuster is pretty much the safest one of all of them. I mean, he's been getting like those targets that we expected of him. Marcus Valdes-Scantling, I mean, to use an analytical term, he sucks. Okay, like he is just really not good, and between him and Kadarius Toney, who I have my own personal hate for, I mean, they're probably both really awful plays. I think. So for me, I'm probably in my Kansas City is going to deal with McKinnon. I mean, how do you just not play him? And then there's and then kills Kelsey and Schuster. Are you playing any of the Kansas Cities? And if so, what are you doing on that side of the ball?
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Juju this year, so I do have like a Walker Juju correlation stack. I mean, I think he's getting a lot more of the targets. MVS does suck in my opinion, and I do get Kadarius Toney's back and could hurt, and the McKinnon's been getting a lot of passing dump offs. But he did look Juju gets a lot of targets, so I do like that. And then Kelsey, should smash in the same spot. So like him to Mahomes mini stack with trying to get one of the guys on the other side right would be another way to play this game, I think. I really like Goodwin. I think Goodwin was getting a lot of work before Lockett was even out. And I think with Lockett out, that Goodwin and Metcalf are going to be huge. One of those guys is going to have a huge game today, in my opinion. So
Here's a bad weather game that I want to just at least talk about, because again, it's hard to ignore these prices, even though it's really likely they get zero. So the New Orleans Cleveland game is getting, that's probably the worst weather of them all. But you have Christian Olave out for New Orleans, and you have nothing but 3K guys over there. You have Rashid Shaheed at 3,500. I think you have either Traquan Smith or Marquez Callaway. I think they both might be 3K. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, if you wanted to be the safe, make the safest type play from a game like that, you would just play Kamara, I suppose, right, on the New Orleans side. But I just have this. I don't see this feeling, but I mean, you have these receivers that are 3K or 3,500. Shouldn't really matter too much what the weather is. I mean, these variations where Rashid Shaheed or one of these guys just takes one step across the line of scrimmage, takes a 1 yard pass and just breaks one tackle and breaks the slate. You know what I mean? Like for 80 yards. And remember, like the field position is getting extinct the most of this game. So the point is that when you do break that little screen pass, it is going to be for 80 yards probably. So what do you think of that? I mean, I'm probably going to just end up sprinkling them just because I'm going to probably get to them. What do you think? What do you think of those cheapos, or if at all?
Yeah, I've actually got really nothing on that in that game.
Okay.
Really, like I'm telling you what though, I need Kamara for a big game today. He's in my best ball lineup. That's got a shot to make it round 4.
So, Clay, talk to me a little bit about that. So tell me about best ball and how it works. Not the whole mechanics. We'll do that next year. But so what are you in? Is it like the playoffs or something like that? Like what's the
Yeah,
status of best ball?
so this week's round 3 of the playoff. So it's round 3 total. You have round 1, which is your standard. It's like a fantasy league. You play 12 weeks. You got 20 guys on your roster, and each week you get points. How many points you score gets scored in. The top 2 move on. So I've had 24 lineups move on to round 2. Round 2, I've only had out of the 24, 1 has made it to round 3. It's very
Now,
hard to make.
how many entries are still alive in round 3?
I couldn't tell you how many are total, but if I make round 4, there'd be 900 entries left in
So
that.
you got it, but you don't know how many there are right now left.
I don't know how many there are right now. So it'd be 12 in each one. So 900 times 12.
Oh, okay. So you have like a 12
You got to
to
be
1
number
shot.
1, yeah, in your pool.
So you have a 12 to 1 shot right now. I mean,
12 to 1 shot.
Assuming that your lineup is the same as everybody else's, right? It's not, but let's just say that it is. And are you guaranteed money yet or no?
Yeah. Once you make it past round 1, you're guaranteed money. So I'm on the second tier of the money, which is not as big. I want to make it next week because $1 million is for first out of 900. So it's 1 in 900 chance to make $1 million with your lineup.
Right. So it's going to get down to 900 next week.
Yep.
And then is that the last week next week?
Yeah, that's the last week. It's for all the big prizes. So
and first prize is $1 million.
Yeah, $1 million in that one.
Nice. And like if you get busted this week, what's it like $80, something like that?
Yeah, pretty much like $50, $80, depending on where you play.
Is there anybody specific that like you can't change it, so it's no big deal? Like you're saying who you have, right? I mean, like
no, I got a legit team though. I mean, I got Kamara, Dillon, Chase, Waddle, Juju, Knox, Devontae Smith, Tyler Boyd. So I got the Buffalo Bills game stack for next week because I got Josh Allen as my QB. So it's a loaded team, and I got Ingram and Lawrence already went off for me. Well, Lawrence didn't go off; he got 20. That's serviceable. But Ingram gave me 23 at the tight end spot, so I don't really need Knox because I got Ingram in that lineup as well. But I got Jamal Williams that played good early on. I got Isaiah Pacheco. So, I got the Singletary in that one if he goes off instead of Josh Allen. So, I got some plays in that one. So it's a good shot to win, but I need Kamara. I need my running back.
Dude, and can you sweat is there like standings? Like you sweat everybody's lineups and see how you're doing, or you just gotta wait till the end?
No, you can see everybody's lineup. So like I'll know how they're doing if I'm already lost, like you see how much PMR everybody has. A lot of people have guys on IR. Like a lot of people, one guy doesn't even have a quarterback this week. He's got a really good lineup, but Hurts is out and his other quarterback got hurt earlier in the season. He has no quarterback to play. He won't get any points for that. So you can see players. And then there's another guy with Justin Jefferson and Mike Evans and a bunch of really good Tyreek Hill in his lineup, really good receivers. But he's got Derek Carr as his quarterback. So I'm really sweating Derek Carr in that one, So like, and like those guys don't have like 30 each either. So like, so there's a lot to sweat for best ball.
Have you guys you have anybody going Monday night?
Do I have anybody going?
Yeah.
What game is that? That's the Chargers one? Chargers Colts, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody in your
my Chargers stacks all died, or I would have been sitting pretty.
No, I'm,
Unfortunately.
I'm
But
just, I'm just, no. You always mention it. It'd be cool to sweat like at the end of the weekend if we knew who you were.
yeah, some people have Jonathan Taylor, which will help that he's out.
Okay,
So like I shouldn't be sweating much in that game because the
so we'll
Chargers
follow,
guys.
we'll follow up on that after today's games,
Yeah, we'll have to. Yeah, today's games will be huge to see where we're at. So
yeah. All right, so let's get back to the other key game. We talked about the Minnesota game. We talked about the Seattle game. Let's talk about the Cowboy game.
perfect.
Because that's the other one. Uh, you know, as I've been mentioning, I mean these games that are in good weather are just are just better. They're just better, and they're a lot better. And you also have you have a cheap quarterback on the Eagles side of the ball, which makes the Eagles side of it pretty attractive. When you run stuff, and then Dallas on the other side, they still have weapons. What are you getting from this game? What is your priorities in this game? I'll just start. I mean, I went so at the beginning of the week. I spoke to Bobby about this. It was kind of like off the cuff when the salaries first came out and when we knew that Hurts was going to be out. I'm like, oh my! By the end of the week, I'm sure Minshew is going to be the chalk, and then I got like really like almost like crotchety. Like when I did my video, I'm like, f Minshew. I'm not playing freaking Minshew. I'm fading Minshew. Everybody's going to play Minshew. I'm not interested. Dallas has a lot of freaking pride. They're gonna come out there and play a really really good game and stick it to Minshew and all this stuff. And I was gonna just basically full fade the Minshew. Okay. And my idea was that I was just gonna play a whole bunch of Dallas. And I'm going back and forth on it. I'm probably just at the end of the day just gonna end up with the field on the Philly side. I'll tell you what the real Galaxy brain play is gonna be the one my son came up with, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But what do you think? What are you doing in this Dallas game? What's your analysis of this Dallas game?
I really like the Dallas side as well today. I think this is going to be one of my stacks. The biggest problem with them is they got a lot of weapons. We don't. Gallup busted hard for me last week. I really like Dalton Schultz at tight end. He's kind of affordable. CeeDee Lamb's been their go-to receiver this year. I love Devontae Smith. I need a big game on him today. Goddard is in a smash spot today, but we're a little unsure on Minshew. Being the quarterback here. But I do like stacking that game up, and I think it's going to be my last 5-5 entry. I'm actually working on that lineup as we've been talking, but I haven't been able to figure out a real good strong lineup with it yet. But I really like this game. So
well, yeah, I again I go back and forth. I do like the Dallas side as well. I like the normal suspects, Lamb, Gallup, Noah Brown. Let me go back to some and Dalton Schultz. And obviously, I'll get the running back wrong, whichever one I play for Dallas as usual. But here's the one thing I want to ask you, and this comes up in Survivor Pool stuff quite a bit. When you're playing best ball, and you need best ball, do you find? I mean, I know it has to impact somewhat, but are you able to segment like the stuff you need in best ball with the stuff you want to play in DFS? Like, do you sometimes get, man, I really need Devontae Smith in best ball. I can't fade him in DFS, or do you do the opposite? You're like, I got enough exposure on him in freaking best ball. Maybe I don't need to play too much. I mean, because it's tough to do sometimes, and I'll talk about it in terms of Survivor. Like, I have this conversation with my partner a lot. He's like, let's take for example, like Cowboys are like 7-point favorites over the Giants. Say, all right, you want to? I said we should probably play Dallas in Survivor. He's like, yeah, but the Giants look really good. I'm like, oh no, the Giants are a lock against the spread, but I still want to play Dallas in Survivor. He can't comprehend that I can believe that. You know what I mean? But they're two totally different pools and two totally different ways of thinking of things. Like, do you find that? I'll put you another way. Do you have enough exposure in these other things like best ball, whatever, where it does impact psychologically, like who you're playing in DFS or not, or you're pretty good about that?
I'm pretty good about that, but you do think about it a little bit. But I mean, Devontae Smith's the guy that kind of been on all year, and he's had a decent year. I've been stacking, Hurts, Brown, and Devontae Smith double stacks for the last couple of weeks, so it's not like I'm not on the guy. But yeah, he's in that best ball lineup, But I actually don't have that much of him today, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to get him in the DAX stack, run.
I got something really funny. So I played this. I'm in this fantasy league. And it's like a very small buy-in, and I don't really think about it too much. And it's really, really embarrassing for the rest of the field. Okay. I am actually. I think I made like one lineup move the whole season, and I'm in the semifinals. Like I have, there's a $500 free agent budget. I have 500 left through the entire season. I didn't use a single one, and I'm in the freaking semis. I mean, shame on everybody else for letting me get away with this. That's for sure. Um, and I did pick up a couple of guys this week. I've been riding this Jared Goff. Ooh, did I get? Oh my God, I'm so good. So Etienne, all right, Etienne did nicely. So I had him and I had him the other day.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure I have everybody playing this week. Ooh, Titans defense. Oh, I like that. Uh, Jake Elliott, Amari Cooper. That can't be good. So who do you think's better? Let's talk about this for a second. I need to make one change. I have Amari Cooper, who obviously I probably shouldn't play. Um, are any of these guys better than him? Like on one day, I had MVS, Josh Palmer, Brandon Ayuk, or Hunter Renfro. Like, which of these guys would you replace, if any, to Amari Cooper just today? Remember, Amari
Uh,
Cooper's in the quagmire.
Probably Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to put Ayuk in place of uh of him. Okay, that takes care of that. First prize in this thing, I think, is like $200 or something like that. I think that's probably first for the season. But we still want to win. All right. So that's the Dallas. Those are like the key games pretty much. And again, however many lineups you play, oh, I forgot my son's play. So I'm gonna tell you. I mean, this is, and I brought this up sort of with Bobby the other day when we were talking about Minshew. Look, running backs, and we can go over running backs, right? But look, Henry's a good play, McCaffrey's a good play. I imagine that you're going to get a bunch of that, and you can afford to get a bunch of that. We'll get back to it. So, who do you like? I guess besides those two, besides Henry and McCaffrey. Oh, if you don't like either of those two, that's fine. So, I'm personally, I think Henry McCaffrey, and then Stevenson and Barkley are probably the four. But who am I missing? Who are you playing a lot of? Anything I missed, like as far as like the core type players?
Um, some at running back here, a couple of guys, like McCaffrey and Henry are good. Like Stevenson's still getting a pretty decent projection for his price.
Yep.
Barkley we talked about, Kenneth Walker. I'm gonna have a little bit of,
Right, forgot about
that might be the most biased guy. Because he went to Michigan State, and I'm a huge Michigan State fan. So that one I always play him. I think it's probably because I like the guy. Delvin Cook I like a little bit to get off of the chalky Jefferson a little bit more. I'm actually getting quite a bit of Delvin. I like his price tag too. Jerick McKinnon's a guy I never play, and I got burned bad by him, and then now I'm sticking him in lineups today for some reason. So yeah, there's that. And then another guy that nobody's gonna play. I've heard a lot of people around the industry have been talking bad about him is DeAndre Swift. 5,500. He's a little more healthy. Jamal Williams has been phased out kind of. He's been getting a lot of passing down work too. I don't know if it's a really good gamble. I mean, it's kind of a fringe play. But if you want to sprinkle in him a little bit at cheap price, I like running it back with like a DJ Moore or something in that game. He gets some touchdowns and then more on the other side of that game. It's kind of a couple sneaky plays out of that game that I like. Besides that, you have the Dallas running backs. Both of them usually get a touchdown each, it feels, and then Dak doesn't get anything. So, that's a possibility. Devin Singletary in that Buffalo game, and then Montgomery in that same game. One of those guys could get all the work from, the receivers. I don't know if anybody's going to play those guys. And then J.K. Dobbins, I do like a little bit too. So, I mean, those are kind of my running backs, that that I'm playing. So
couple of points on that. And I mentioned this the other day too. I don't know what it is about the Yahoo salaries, but one of the guys you mentioned, I'm getting just a boatload of on Yahoo, and that's actually DeAndre Swift. So I'll just throw that out there. If you are playing Yahoo and you're getting DeAndre Swift, you're not alone. You basically covered like all the running backs that I was going to bring up. I'm going to give you one other, and this is my son's pick, and it's something I brought up with Bobby the other day. We were talking about Gardner Minshew. Like, which is Gardner Minshew any good at handing the ball off to Miles Sanders? Okay, if he is, I think that Miles Sanders could be like just the ultimate like 4 p.m. freaking just destroy everybody play. And I will say this is that if you have a lineup with, say, either Zeke or Pollard, right, in going to that 4 o'clock game, and you're in the mood, you can pivot that to Sanders at no ownership, I think, um, and get this done. I mean, he's had games, right, where he's destroyed entire slates, and Minshew is a backup quarterback. You know what I mean? So I again, it's definitely he probably going to rate like 15th or something like that, as far as running backs plays go. But you get all kinds of leverage on the Eagles, okay, and it's some kind of funky leverage on Zeke and Pollard if people go to them in the 4 p.m. game, right? So I think that's a pretty I think that is actually a pretty cool play. Um, uh, I guess that's my only comment on that. Again, it's and it reminds me to be smart about the 4 o'clock swaps. And every week I tell everybody to do this, and every week I just don't, and I screw up. Okay, I get either tilted or busy or whatever it is, and then I look sometimes really quickly at how I'm doing at 1 o'clock, and I'm like, oh, whatever, I can't do anything at 4 anyway. I'm going to keep it the way it is and just kind of see what it does. But you only got 2 games. So you can give yourself a little bit of a look. There are only a couple of things you could do anyway. You may as well take a look at them. So Miles Sanders would be my just kind of ridiculous, really low owned pivot off of pretty much everything that we've talked about, I suppose. What about and so before I get into defenses, is anything else like from the skill positions that maybe we didn't talk about that you have more of than like you would expect, or more of than maybe other people would have? I mean, I'm just kind of like scanning my board here. I don't really see all too much. I know who I want to ask you about. Talked about the Minnesota game a little bit. What is your exposure, your take on KJ Osborne? Because last week he obviously had an amazing game. It was kind of a weird game script, to say the least, right? But what do you think of him? I mean, he's been good. The people have been wanting him to be good a bunch of times. He's only 4,500 in the best game on, one of the best environments on the slate. I don't really see him being that highly owned. What is your take on him as opposed to Thielen as the second Vikings receiver?
I don't mind the play. I don't have any of them, but I'm kind of lighter on the Minnesota pass catchers in general.
Okay.
A little bit. I mean, I have them sprinkled in, but I have more Thielen probably. So I don't have any KJ, but I think he's a great play. He's been killing it. I mean, he's getting a lot of work. He's getting a lot of usage, so he's definitely in play.
And I have one other ridiculous game before we get into defenses, and only because I spent like way too much time on this in both my videos. And just a pure disclosure, I'm going to have some of this. Brandon Cooks is back for Houston, and he's under 5K. And Chris Moore has been the target guy, and he's under 5K. And, you can apparently pass on Tennessee. And if you're going to play Derrick Henry anyway, I fully support playing Davis Mills with those two dudes. It's definitely Millie Maker only. But I think that they're cheap enough where you play those two, and then you could jam in Henry along with McCaffrey and make the rest of your lineup work. I built one kind of like during my video with Bobby, which looked ridiculous, but Millie Maker lineups that win look ridiculous. They just kind of do. So those two Houston guys, I think, are pretty cheap against. Listen, it's a very cold day in Tennessee, but whatever. And the other thing on Tennessee in that game, you could play the I don't like playing like the Malik Willis guys. You know what I mean? I don't like playing those types of quarterbacks really. So I don't really want to stack it, but I would play like Derrick Henry with those two receivers. That's kind of like my kind of stupid win the Millie play. And the other one that I would throw out that just I went over the other day is it kind of came up when I was building up this kind of phantom lineup, and I said, well, who's your favorite Baltimore guy? I said, like, I guess DeMarcus Robinson, and someone, who's your favorite Atlanta guy, like Drake London? So I put them both in there, and they were part of like this other ridiculous lineup I had. And I said, well, why don't I just, and Bobby's like, well, I liked like Mark Andrews, kind of like a low owned tight end play. How could he be low owned? I'm like, okay, so why don't, instead of that, let's just throw Huntley in pair him with both freaking Demarcus Robinson and Andrews, run it back with London, and then chalk the rest of the lineup and win $1 million that way. So only because I threw it out into the ecosystem, I have to just kind of like throw it out there to you. I guess I'll just put it to you this way: like, is there anything like ridiculous low owned thing that you have kind of like this thought to play that like you wouldn't really recommend, but you just feel like you want to play anyway?
Who I don't. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have one of those today. I
Yeah,
mean,
Rhodey's too responsible. Like he's
no, no. I mean,
he
what?
is.
I
He's
don't know. I
sweet.
talked about the
He's way
Bills.
too
Is the Bills going
responsible.
to be that chalky? Gabe
Who?
Davis type play, Knox, and those guys. Like,
How about Diggs at 2% ownership?
yeah, I mean, I got that. That's a 5-5-5 line. So I
Yeah.
got Diggs and I got Knox in that one. So like that's what I'm doing. If that's my
Okay.
stupid play of the day, but
So
it's
so
not really
let
stupid.
me let me throw in. I'm gonna address a couple of comments here. Kevin wants to say, "Come on, Rode Dobbins." Now is he now again? I can't. This is the weird thing about Discord. I can't quite figure out what the accent is. Does that mean he's come on, Rody Dobbins? Is he like
Yeah.
recommending Dobbins or saying, "Come on, Rode Dobbins"? So I don't know exactly what the tone of that is. Um, but why don't you just re-comment on Dobbins? And then the other one, Tony A is asking about Herbert from the Bears. Is unless Montgomery is out, I think that Herbert would be kind of like showdown only or something like that. That would be my initial take. But if you're getting something that Montgomery might be limited or something like that, I don't think that Herbert's just going to project for enough touches for me to play him in like a main lineup. And the third thing, and then you can address any of these three things. JJJ is saying in back to back, he says, are the Eagles really playing for anything? And then he says, I'm fading Eagles and Cowboys. I don't think they actually play hard. I mean, listen, we're not supposed to put our emotions into this, and we're supposed to just be like DFS, spreadsheet guys, and just say that these are points on a diagram or whatever. But listen, I'm 50 million years old, and I've been watching football since before most of you were born, and the Eagles and Cowboys are never going to play each other and not be trying. It's just never going to happen. Okay, and that's just the way it is, and especially like on the Dallas side. I mean, Dallas, they're feeling like kind of trolled. They're like, you're really gonna even sit like Jalen Hurts against us. You know what I mean? That's what you think of us for real. And Dallas just got freaking, I don't say embarrassed, but I guess shocked by Jacksonville. I mean, to imply that Dallas is not going to be trying hard. I mean, they're out for blood. Now, I don't know if they can actually back that up, but there's just no way that either team holds back whatever they have to offer in this game. So again, don't play the game because you think it's going to be popular, or don't play the game because you don't like them. But I would not play the game for lack of motivation. So what do you think of that? What do you think of the Dobbins mysterious comment, and what do you think about Herbert?
Herbert, I do not like. I think that's a bad play. He's probably eased in. I think Montgomery's getting a lot of work. Dobbins, maybe he was probably saying really Dobbins because they got Gus back and they got a backfield, but like he's got to get his work early, and then if he get a couple touchdowns, he's been explosive. I like the guy coming out like as a rookie, and then he got hurt, and then he's just battling back. So I think he's got something to prove. And then the other comment was, I answered them all, I think.
Yeah, you got all that.
Yeah, but I have one question for you, actually, Sheets.
Yeah.
On DraftKings today, would you think you'd be more tend to go with 3 running backs, or are you doing a lot more receiver or tight end in the flex? Or you kind of just like, what's your flex position look like? I think today's a kind of a mixed bag. Like I'm struggling to kind of figure out which direction I want to go, but I'm getting a lot of everything, really.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think that on a slate like this that, you'd want 3 running backs only because, it doesn't rate the score all that high, I imagine. But I'm just like looking through what I'm getting, and it's kind of a mixed bag. Like I'm getting like most of my McCaffreys, for example, are showing up, in the flex. So that means that I am getting 3 running back stuff. But then I'm getting some Devontae Smith over there, and there's some Miles Sanders. Yeah, I usually let Saber, some of the lineup builders just kind of determine who goes in the flex. I don't really just kind of force that kind of stuff. But I guess overall, I guess the normal distribution. But then again, I have this Miles Sanders in the flex thing with the with the pivoting to the Dallas guys or back and forth. It's a weird slate because there's only 2 games at 4 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wish I could be more help. Like this lineup, I can't use this. I have one lineup in the Millie Maker. I have both Tyler Algier and Cordell Patterson. Like both. Hey, listen,
Gotcha.
I'll tell you this: if that Arthur Smith had his way, this lineup would do it. You know what I mean? Like he loves this stuff. He loves playing. He loves jamming the running backs down people's throats. So these are the ones I have to kind of like tweak a little bit. Okay, he's saying any FanDuel plays. Okay, one thing I will note is that I don't have as much high concentration on FanDuel in general. So on DraftKings, when I did my builds, I was getting like a whole bunch of, say, McCaffrey or Vikings or whatever. I had to pare them down. When I ran FanDuel, I get a little more spread out. I'm still getting McCaffrey as my top owned guy, and then Jefferson, Hawkinson, and all that stuff. But I don't know exactly what to make of that. But as far as FanDuel for me, I have a pretty similar breakdown. Mostly Minnesota, Dallas, and Seattle, right? And then some Philly, Giants, KC, and then just some sprinkles. But I do have to change something because I had some McCall Hardman in there. So again, I haven't really rerun stuff for FanDuel yet. And then running back wise, for example, McCaffrey, Henry, Barkley, nothing real different. Are you playing FanDuel at all today?
Yeah, I'm doing a couple of those encores. I haven't even got to my FanDuel builds. I'm really behind today,
Yeah,
so
we got time. Don't worry. We got plenty.
yeah. So like, I'm struggling with this DAX stack. I still can't figure out what I made a lot of good ones. I'm just kind of siphoning through what I want to do with it.
I'm not intending on playing. What's that one you said? The Rainmaker. What's the thing on FanDuel today?
The encore thing. It's called.
How much is that thing? Like, is that expensive?
It was a fan championship encore, 200K to first.
How much is that?
$250 an entry.
Oh, okay. I'll play one of those. I think. Nice.
Yeah, I think it's full now though.
Oh, I guess I'm not playing any then.
Yeah, that one. There's some stuff that filled up quick today. That Millie 555 filled up quick too on DK.
Oh yeah, I reserved myself for one of those on Tuesday. That was one I knew that I wanted to play, and I knew I'd forget. So I'm glad I'm glad I put that one in.
Yeah, that sold out earlier today or last night even, I think.
So I just did just so you know, K9. I just did a rerun on FanDuel with my most updated projections here, and like without tweaking anything, I would have just a real big amount of this Minnesota Giants game, like on both sides of that ball. That's what I would be getting if I didn't change anything. And then I'd be getting a bunch of, no surprise, Jefferson, Hawkinson, all the guys from that game. But I would be getting McCaffrey as my main running back over there. So it'd be and a good amount of Barkley. So I guess the guy who would suffer on FanDuel would be Derrick Henry. Like Derrick Henry, if I didn't tweak anything on my initial build, I would have 6% Derrick Henry, which is really scary. You know what I mean? So that's my initial FanDuel take actually. What about defense?
That's a good question.
I mean, my usual. So here are my takes. Okay, as usual, I don't think you should play more than 20% of a defense if you're multi-entering. Wow, Adam Perry is saying they're postponing the Nashville game an hour due to, I guess, coldness or something like that. Due to something. Is it going to snow? Is it snowing or is it just cold? And what is it going to get warmer? Wow, that's crazy. I presume that game's still going to lock at 1:00. But oh, what do you mean? What grid is? Oh, you mean electricity? Oh, wow, that's sick. You can make a case to fade that whole game, and if that game could get postponed. I mean, if there's like legit like blackout electricity issues, that game could get postponed. Could you imagine?
Yeah, it'd be nuts.
It is like baseball. Can you imagine like 35% Derrick Henry, like getting rained out pretty much, or getting electrocuted out.
Mhm.
That's real. That's going to really ruin my Davis Mills stats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's the other thing, Adam. It could depress Henry ownership. I don't know, man. I don't know if people can do it. If anything, I think unless they really say there's a legit chance it gets postponed, I think he's still going to get jammed. Wow, this is awesome. What do you do? Well, I guess my FanDuel builds are basically planning for a postponement if I only have 6% Derrick Henry. Wow, that's crazy. That is
That is
interesting. Okay, so
crazy.
anyway, back to the defenses. The well, what you could do is put Derrick Henry in the flex, right? If you put Derrick Henry in the wait, no, you can't. Wait a minute.
Yeah, you can. FanDuel does let you, if a game gets postponed, it does let you switch it for basketball at least, right?
Yeah,
Or no, baseball it was. Yeah, it's
yeah. I
postponed.
don't know. No, you
I don't
can't. No,
know.
no, you can't. Putting Derrick Henry in the flex doesn't help because if that game locks at 1, you can't change it.
Yeah, no, it will revert to it will unlock the player for you to change it to a 425 guy.
In an NFL game, you know this.
No, FanDuel does allow that. Postponed games get
Okay.
a swap, but I don't know. I don't know if it's got on the NFL. Like
Right, right. That's what I'm
I don't know
saying.
if it's for NFL. If NFL does that, I know it's
All
like
right.
a
Well,
little.
someone in here's got to do a little research on that. So David is asking what's postponed. Nothing yet, but the Tennessee game is delayed an hour because of grid issues. Oh goodness! All right, so let me get back to defense for a minute, and then we'll get back to this shit show. So again, defense, I really wouldn't want to play any defense that's more than 50, for more than 20% ownership if I'm mass multi-entering. The other thing about defense, and this is my only other take, I guess, is that be careful playing the not be careful, but if you play the obvious weather defenses such as New Orleans, Cleveland, even if you want to pay, imagine paying 4K for Cleveland, that'd be awesome. Like paying 4K on the DD for a defense on a slate like this, um, and then New Orleans, the Bears, like all these teams in these big weather games. Just remember that in the real big weather games, there's not a lot of passing, so it doesn't really rate to get like pick sixes and sacks and all of that stuff. You think that the teams would be really conservative. So in say cash games, sure. I mean, you could play the 2,200 defenses and have a good shot to get 7 or 8 or whatever it is. But I still think the highest scoring defenses is going to be from a game that doesn't have as many weather concerns, just because there's going to be the ball being flown around a little bit more, and those types of games, those type of environments usually end up with a decent amount of fantasy points for a ceiling like that, like the Eagle game, for example. Like the Eagle game, like one of those defenses could be the highest scoring defense. Like the Kansas City Seattle game could be one of the highest scoring defenses, whatever it is. But those are my takes for. Okay, here we go, David. If a game is rescheduled for a time outside the original scoring period, and the change is made less than 24 hours, the game will be disabled from the game set, and players. I'm waiting for the second part of this explanation.
I think in players are unlocked. It should be unlocked. Like
Well,
if
let's
that's
just see what it says.
if that's the FanDuel rule, then it should be okay. Like that's
Yeah.
how it's for MLB or whatever you have where you can switch out your guys or something.
Well, this change is made less than 24 hours before game sets start. I guess that includes after the game starts, right?
That
Oh, set is if the game is rescheduled outside the original scoring period. So if it's rescheduled for like Tuesday, you mean, right? Or what if it gets rescheduled for like 8 tonight? Is that okay? As of the time of the lock, the disabled game will remain in your roster and will accrue 0 fantasy points. Players in disabled games will be locked at the originally scheduled start time of their game.
So NFL doesn't have any rules and like that, okay? Or FanDuel for NFL.
Well, quite honestly, when we finish this, I'm probably going to go to another one of these live before lock shows and see if they can give me any information. If you want to keep it real,
Yeah.
scoring periods defines the time frame between the scheduled start of the fifth. Yeah. I do encourage everybody to either go to like Roto Grinders or Run Pure, wherever the hell you guys go for other content to get the answer to this question, because it is kind of an important question. I just literally don't know the answer. And we're all doing our research, but I promise you this, that by 12:30, everybody will know what the rule is. I don't know exactly what it is yet, but I promise you that if it's not already in these other Discord channels, it'll be in there probably within 5 minutes. That would be my guess. And if I remember, I'll come back into the Discord and post what that is. Okay. Any comment on defense? I think I just went into that.
I'm really spread out today. I got guys pretty much all over the place. I even got Bears, 2K. I like, the Chiefs a lot. I like the Cowboys even I like the Patriots. I like the Saints, I think, and Texans even. So that might be a concern now. Yeah, I'm kind of really spread out. Like you don't overstack a D really today. For me, it's all over.
This is amazing. This is really, really good. This reminds me of these COVID games from a couple of years ago. Actually, the COVID games were easy. I mean, those were usually figured out like within a couple of days of the game. This is we have an actual postponed game for an hour for a reason that really might not get rectified. You know what I mean? We literally don't know if the electricity, like, does anybody have any inside information of like the electricity people? Like, anybody have any Twitter accounts from like PSENG of Tennessee or whatever it is that when the grid is going to be returned? This is awesome. This is outside of Roth's skill set. I don't think that anybody's going to get this one, but I think they'll do a good job of this, whatever it is.
I don't think the stadium's having issues. It's like the outskirts of it where the people live or something. Maybe watching the game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, if they can't broadcast the game for whatever reason, the game will be postponed.
Yeah.
If there's any issue with getting those commercials on, you know what I mean, or getting these games on, the game will be moved to, I would guess, tomorrow night or something like that. That would be my. And the mayor is asking for the postponement. Wow, excellent.
Most people are just saying the 1 hour is legit. I think that's even what the mayor asked them for, 1 hour or something.
Okay. Oh, so the mayor asked for the hour. He didn't ask. He asked for a full postponement, or he asked just for the hour.
No, you're right. He might have asked for full postponement due to getting people like lowering the power grid. So yeah, there is a chance.
All right. So listen. Well. Okay. So here's everybody's. We'll wrap this up in a minute. But here's everybody's their own little research. Is go to the other sites, figure out what the rule is. If you can play Derrick Henry and then get a break, you know what I mean? Like if the game gets postponed, then I think that's fine. You can end up playing, a lot of other guys. If there's like a legit, I mean, you have to listen. This is gambling. It just really is. That's true, Adam. When I always root for a power outage, right? Whenever we have a big score or something like that. Yeah, but we can't have a power outage. If it was a 4:00 game, we had a big score up. That'd be one thing. So okay, that's the deals. Yeah, sorry, Eric. We can't go all the way back to the beginning and start all over again. You have to rewind if you want to hear the takes. But okay, I guess that will do it. Just a couple of announcements, then I'll let you guys go. I will have the showdown slate up for the Vegas-Pittsburgh game tonight. For those of you that do not celebrate Christmas or celebrate it if you like playing anyway, I have it up there. For tomorrow, I will be live 1 hour before the first NBA game, whenever that is. I imagine it's 12, but it could be one. Whatever that is, I will be there for that. I will go over both the NFL and the NBA. Also, for those of you who haven't noticed, the NBA, we put the NBA Christmas contest up in the lobby, and there's $2,424 added to that for whoever wins. And the answer is no. If you get second to Bobby and or I, you don't get the money. But considering how I've been doing the NBA the last week, beating me is not going to be too difficult. Bobby Bobby could be a little bit difficult. Bobby's been seeing the board a little better than I have. But in any case, and it's not going to be in the lobby. The money added, it's just going to be like kind of dealt with on the side in some way. But listen, it's my way of kind of thanking everybody and just whatever. I wish I promoted a little better throughout the course of the week, but whatever it is, that's better for you guys. Like less competition. But so that's already in the lobby. Make sure you register for that. And tomorrow night, I will 100% be live. I guess. Sorry about this, Rody, but again, I might be past Rody's bedtime. It's going to be probably 11 p.m. tomorrow night. For that second half of the set. It'll be the showdown, end of the showdown slate tomorrow. It'll be the end of the whatever is going on tomorrow, whatever for the NBA. So I will be there for that. Hopefully, we'll be sweating someone's $2,424, and hopefully my $1 million for the NBA contest on DraftKings. So that'll do it. Good luck, everybody, and I will let the outro go to Mr. Brody.
Yeah. All right, guys. Everyone have a good day. Merry Christmas, everybody, tomorrow, and let's get it.